Hello, today we're here with Skip Mooney from Out of the Dark. How are you doing today?
Great, Jessica. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Can you tell us about Out of the Dark?
Sure, I'll be happy to. Out of the Dark is a community concept. Basically, it's a nonprofit 501c3 organization that we started in September of 2008 as a response to the rapid growth of chemical addiction that the communities are suffering from.
Okay. What inspired you to start this organization?
Well, in July of 2008, I was reading the front page of the Jonesboro Sun, and front page was something similar to, the headlines were similar to heroin, not cocaine involved, and we had five young adults in Jonesboro that had overdosed on heroin. And as a result of that, I grew up in Jonesboro and raised my family here, and as a result of that, I started thinking about what was going on out there in the community and, how could this happen? And so that's kind of what inspired it initially. I have been practicing law here for many years, and I've represented a lot of people in the criminal world, domestic relations world, where addiction has always been kind of a common thread in a lot of that. So I just started thinking about that and talking with my daughter, and wrote a letter to the editor of the Jonesboro Sun, which they ultimately published.
Okay. On your website, you mentioned a lot of different sectors, and there's one in particular you talked about, the educational sector. Can
Right.
you discuss what that is?
Yeah, basically what we did, Jessica, is we started looking at the issues and trying to determine how can a community deal with this, because the collateral damage from chemical addiction has grown so much. And so what we did is we developed what's called the local level up community model. And the model, basically, I wish I had a copy of it to show it to you, but it's like the gears of a watch. We have our corporation, then we have a coalition of volunteers within the community of Craighead that meet quarterly to talk about local issues in different sectors of our community. And as you mentioned, education is one of them, and it's one that we've had significant success in so far. That is basically what we've done is we've started Out of the Dark school chapters in every school district in Craighead County, and we're networking those, okay? And what that does is it builds leadership in our youth. We provide real education about addiction and what that does. When I talk about addiction, I'm talking about chemical addiction from narcotics. At the time we started the organization, Arkansas led the nation as the #1 state in the country for teens 12 to 20 years old experimenting and misusing narcotics, pain medicine, which is equivalent to heroin and morphine. And I didn't realize that until I started looking into it. Since then, since we started our Out of the Dark school chapters, which now involve 660 kids or students and growing, our surveys locally have shown that in every class, the use of narcotics has dropped tremendously, dramatically. And what was kind of scary when I first looked at it, Jessica, is that Craighead County was above state average. So we had Arkansas #1 in the country, and Craighead County above state average. So that's pretty shocking. So I just, after they published the letter, people just started calling me. And we had a public meeting. The city council allowed me to use their council and place, and over 200 people showed up. And so it's just really a grassroots organization of how to network our community and solve some of these problems.
Okay. Can you tell us about some of the volunteer work within the program?
Yeah, I tell you, normally I don't ask for funding or anything. What I ask for you to do is give me a couple hours of your time every few months. And so our coalition meets quarterly, and they'll meet for an hour and a half, and they'll divide up in the sectors that we've talked about, and they'll identify within those sectors 3 issues that can be addressed locally. Not what the state can do or the federal government can do, but what we can do right here in our own community. And then once those issues are identified, they will develop or formulate action plans that we can do locally here. Okay, so we do that in every sector, and then we meet together as a group, and then we start implementing these action plans throughout the community. And I guess in a way, the Out of the Dark school chapters are somewhat part of an action plan. And so it's been real successful, and we're very pleased with how fast it's been growing.
That's really good. Can you tell us about the funding?
Funding, the biggest problem once I started looking at some of these issues is that a lot of our agencies and a lot of people dealing with what I call the collateral damage from chemical addiction. I mean, we spend very little money on prevention and treatment. We spend most of it on what's called burden spending and trying to clean up this collateral damage. Okay, A lot of our policies over the years have been based on behavior rather than illness theory, even though medically addiction is an illness. I mean, if you talk to, as a matter of fact, they proclaimed it, the Addiction Society, representing basically all the doctors that are involved in this, proclaimed back last month that it's a primary disease. And so we try to look at it in that fashion. But most of our funding is based on evidence-based and behavioral, and what happens is you get people up in Washington or someone that doesn't live in your community that says you can have money, but we're going to tell you what to do. And so we have some drawbacks on people telling us what to do. I mean, we're coming up with different ideas, a new way to approach this, and so we rely upon the community. I mean, I'll give you a quick example. My mother passed away last month, or in July, and there was a memorial set up for her. And we had over $5,000 of people just sending in $25 checks to the organization. And we're going to use that money for a student in our education sector as a scholarship for Out of the Dark students. And every year we'll award $1,000 to, and we've got procedures for them to nominate them, but we will award $1,000 to a student for their activities and leadership and helping others, with regards to these issues. And then we're going to also fund through that some of our sponsors, our school sponsors that are involved. So,
if we want to know more about Out of the Dark, how can we contact the organization?
Well, we have a website, and it's outofthedark.org. Now, don't go to .com because that's a whole different world out there, but you can do that or contact us at outofthedark.org at gmail.com. We have an 800 number. Not only are we working with networking our community to resolve some of these issues, we also have a helpline. We provide a lot of educational stuff about addiction and the studies out there, and we share them with parents. A lot of people are in denial about this. It's an ugly issue, but we're bringing it out of the dark and we're addressing the issues. And as a result, Craighead County and Jonesboro is going to be a lot better place for us to live. We're not going to see the dramatic growth of this problem that we've seen over the last 10 years in the next 10 years. We're going to address it and do something about it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Skip, for being with us
Well, thank
today.
Thank you so much, Jessica. It's nice to meet you. I appreciate being on the spotlight.
I'm Jessica Holmes. This is Channel 24.